Hey, 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 come on in, come on in. Welcome to day 3 of the Visibility Anchor series. I'm excited to be on in the evening, right? Because I've been doing these during the day. So if you're an evening person, this may work better for you. However, the replays are still up. So if you have missed days 1 and 2, you can absolutely go and grab the replay. So if you are on live, I would love it if you would say hi. So then I know that you can hear me. I know that my tech is working and I am not chattering away to myself, which is often the case, right? So I have a cup of chamomile tea this evening because I'm on wind down. So let me know if you're on. Let me know how your day has been. Drop it in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Hey, Jackie, good to see you. Can you hear me? Are we good? Is my tech behaving? Right, I can see that I'm live. Yep, on IG. And the audio is working over there. So I'm going to assume it's working on YouTube. So guys, I'm talking all about content today, right? But before we get into it, I do want to welcome you again to day 3 of the Visibility Anchor series. So whether this is day 1 for you, or maybe you have been here for all 3 days, I would love to know, actually. Drop it in the chat. Drop like me if you've been here all 3 days, or drop first time if it's your first time. And if you're watching the replay, just say #replay, because then I'll get a sense, right? Do these things work better in the evenings, or is the lunchtime session still good for you guys? All right, yes, loud and clear, sis. All good. Amazing. Thank you so much. Emma, hey, hey, hey. Emma, I think I met you today, right? At the boot camp. I'm guessing. Let me know if I'm correct. But yeah, it's a cup of chamomile tea, right? I hope you have your beverage, because this is an informal chat. There's no slides, right? There's no fanfare. I am just on sharing some insights with you around visibility and your content. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So I just want to say up front, the LinkedIn Strategy Lab is open, right? So doors are open. You can hop in. They will remain open, but the exciting part is there's a Black Friday offer, and I'm mentioning it now at early doors at the start of this live, not to sell you, but purely because everything that I'm teaching around the visibility anchors are all tied back to what's in the LinkedIn Strategy Lab, right? So all of the 10 anchors that I'm sharing over these, where are we now? 7 days, maybe? Yeah, something like that, is exactly what we'll be working on in the lab, but in a more deeper and more supported way, right? So this is like the warm-up series. This is like the dance before the dance. It's the foundation, the part that's going to help you to understand the why behind what we're doing. So if you do decide to hop into the lab, right, if you decide it's right for you, you'll already be anchored, right? You'll already be clear and already building momentum as we head into 2026. So Emma, you are the Emma that I met today. Amazing. I'm so excited that you jumped on. That's fantastic. I hope that the other session after my session was beneficial. I don't actually know what it was. Oh, sales. It was Jerry. Jerry's incredible. So yeah, he would have taken very good care of you guys. Leonora, you've been here for all 3 days. Yay! Celebrating you. Amazing. Amazing. I'm glad that you're here and would love to hear like how you found the series so far, if you found it beneficial, if the information has been profitable for you, right? Do let me know. All right, so let's get into it. As I've said, the LinkedIn Strategy Lab is open. You are more than welcome to hop in if what I'm sharing resonates and it's right for you, right? But let's get into content, because that's what I want to talk about. And when I say content, like, a lot of people instantly think that I'm going to tell you to post more. I'm going to say create more reels. I'm going to say do more carousels, post 5 times a day, post, like, do all the things. That is often what people associate when you mention content, right? But this live is not that. It's not about cranking out more content. That's not what this is. Today is absolutely about anchoring your thoughts, your insights, and packaging it in the form of content, right? So content is what I would call the through line, right? So it's where your ideas stack, right? They become like a body of work that you are able to share online, right? So instead of random posts that are scattered across your feed, right? I want you to be able to create content that, as I've said, becomes a body of work, becomes what you're known for. So let me know, when I said I'm going to be speaking on content, what came to mind? Were you thinking she's going to tell me to post more? She's going to talk about content pillars? Let me know. Cheers, Emma. I appreciate you. That's really kind of you to say so. Hola, the creative. How are you, sis? Welcome in to the live. All right. So yeah, we've got some more people than probably, I'm looking across, I can see YouTube and IG. I can't see the LinkedIn numbers. There are a few people from LinkedIn. So yeah, maybe an evening live is better for you. But yeah, guys, drop in the chat. Hey, Pauline, good to see you. What comes up when I say content? Do you instantly think do more, be everywhere, put out every content type, do more reels, do more videos, do more? Maybe that is what comes up for you. And as I've said, that is not what this particular live is about, right? It's not about making more noise, because it's very noisy, the online space, right? But I do want to start with just like an honest check-in, right? Because I think a lot of women in business create content, but every time they sit down to do so, it almost feels like they're starting from scratch. They never quite know what to talk about. Like each morning, it's like a whole new, it's like Groundhog Day. It's like you're starting from zero. And let me just share something with you that I have noticed, right? It's not that you don't have anything to say, right? It's not that you are bad with your time, or you have, I don't know, no value to bring. The problem is you don't have a structure, right? Because when you don't have a structure, that is when things feel hard, they feel difficult. And I like to call that structure a content series, right? So your content series stops you from drifting, which is why this is one of the anchors, right? So it's grounding you, it's keeping your trousers in place. If you remember the analogy that I gave, the visibility anchors is what keeps your trousers up. It's the belt that keeps your trousers up, keeps your shorts up, so you're not exposing yourself, right? Random analogy, I know. But visibility anchors is what stops you drifting, right? When you don't have a content series, your audience drifts as well. Your message drifts, and it is tiring. It gets really overwhelming and tiring, right? But when you create a simple series, a theme that you can come back to, or a framework that holds your ideas, your visibility becomes almost like the spine for your online presence. It's what stands up, it's what feels clear, it's what you become recognized for. And I hope I'm making sense, right? And I'm going to uncover and unpack all of this, right? But let me just talk to you as your friend next door with a cup of tea, right? We're just having a nice, friendly chat at the moment. And I hope that you are taking in the gems that I'm dropping. let me ask you, friendly chat, when somebody comes to your page, is it clear what you're actually talking about? Would it be clear to them, right? Not just the general topic, but the way in which you think, the way in which you work, the ways that you work, right? Is there a thread through everything? Would I know the frameworks that you're building, the content pieces are kind of stacked together and make sense? Or is it like a disparate list of just garbled information? Because what I need for you to realize is that what sticks with people over time is not a clever post. It's not a post that, is well engaged and you wrote it really well, or maybe ChatGPT wrote it really well. It's not that, right? It's a body of work with a through line. It's the shape of your thinking. And when I say through line, think of like a TV series. Let me use that analogy. Think of a TV series. Every episode in that series that you watch, your favorite series, whatever that is, every episode is different. But the main storyline that runs through the whole thing remains the same. It remains consistent. So every post that you put out, think of it as an episode, right? So I hope this analogy is making sense. Think of it as an episode. That's the through line, the story underneath. That's the thing that to connects all the bits together and makes people feel like, I get it. I know what she's about. I understand, not just at a high level. Oh, she talks about LinkedIn. Like, at a granular level, what is it that I believe? What's the value that I'm bringing to the marketplace, right? So now your content series is just how the storyline shows up in real life, in your page, right? It's the repeating ideas over time. People need to hear something, I think they've said 7 to 10 times before they make a decision to work with you, make a buy-in decision. So don't feel as though, oh, I'm repeating myself. I'm saying the same thing over and over again. Your through line should be repeated, right? It should be consistent. It should be said in multiple ways through different lenses, with different examples, with different case studies, with different stories, with different content formats. There are so many ways that you can slice and dice your content series to really bring home the point that you're wanting to make. Right. And what you find is that because your audience keeps bumping into the same idea from a different angle, from a different content type, one day it's a video, one day it's a carousel, the next day you're live, right? What you start to do is turn from like random post mode to strategic anchored visibility mode, right? You turn people who are kind of unsure into knowing, loyal followers that show up and turn up when you post. They turn on the notifications, right? When you are online, when you post, because they want to know about it. If it's the right people that need what you're talking about. So let's come back to the idea of content not just being random. You kind of know that you should post, so you feel, oh, we'll just throw up a post and that will be okay. What you really want to do is be known for the work that you do through the content that you put out. That's how you build a body of work. That's how you become known for what you do. You become invited onto other people's platforms because they're clear in terms of what you speak about, who you speak to, and the results that you get for people. So it really helps your audience to recognize you, and not just by face, right? But by mind, by thoughts, by ideas, by your intellectual property. This is really what content is. These are assets. As you think of like property being assets, your posts, your blogs, your emails, these are your intellectual property. When you think of it, right, me personally, I am in the like online education space. So what I'm selling isn't tangible. I'm selling thoughts, I'm selling strategies, I'm selling ideas. And that is what your content over time becomes a body of work that you can repurpose. You could take an email now and repurpose that into a blog. Your blogs could now become a course because these are assets. So I hope I'm making sense. I'm going to come back and check the chat in a bit, right? You do not need anything fancy, right? You don't need a 12-step methodology and a whole curriculum to get started. What you need is a clear idea that you will repeat over time in different formats, right? So let me give you an example from my journey, right? So for a long time, I was posting what I would say was good content, right? Little LinkedIn tip here, little LinkedIn tip there, a mindset post, maybe some encouragement for a woman over 40, right? The odd story from my corporate days. So yeah, they were good, right? Any one post on its own is fine, right? People would say, yeah, that's a good post, but nothing really tied together. The dots weren't being joined up, right? If you landed on my page, you'd probably say, oh, that was helpful, but wouldn't necessarily prompt you to take the next step to work with me, right? You wouldn't necessarily understand the, that structure that I'm building, the ideas that I'm trying to communicate, right? So at some point, I realized everything that I cared about teaching, talking about, writing about, all came back to one thing, right? I realized that helping women to feel anchored and feel visible, become visible through simple online strategies that are sustainable for us at our age and stage of life. Because the women I was coming across were incredible at what they did, but were like leaving money on the table, were not getting the recognition that they deserved purely because they just didn't know how to navigate the online space, right? Purely because imposter syndrome was louder than the transformation that they were able to get for people, right? So I knew for me, that was my through line. That was my reason for putting content out online. And where like the idea of visibility anchors was actually born, right? So even this 9-day series that you are watching right now, this is a content series. This is a content series, right? So across these 9 days with these 10 anchors, I am sharing my intellectual property, my ideas, my frameworks for visibility, right? So this is a content series. This is an example of a content series, right? So each day, one anchor, right? Same through line, same lens, same like thread that's going through it, but from different angles, ultimately with one kind of solitary message. So instead of me waking up and being like, well, what on earth am I gonna post today? What am I going to do today? What am I going to talk about today? I already know what lane I'm in. I know where and when and how I should be showing up because I'm building a body of work around a clear idea, not just dropping random posts into my feed. Again, I hope I'm making sense. And I think what's beautiful is having women dropping into my DMs and saying they are loving the Anchor series, right? Saying that this is helping them to think about visibility differently. And when that happens, you know that your content isn't just out there for out their sake. It's actually landing, right? It's recognizable, valuable, and it's starting to like almost take root in people's minds, right? If that makes sense. So for today, I want to give you a quick question to sit with. I want you to go away, think about this question. What idea sits at the center of your work, right? What's the one thing that you teach naturally and you keep coming back to? What is that one idea? Because the answer to that question is usually the beginning of your content series, right? And that's where you begin to build that framework, that structure, so your content doesn't feel like it's just out at sea drifting. So let me come back and check the chat and see what your thoughts, your takeaways, your insights, if you have any questions. But tomorrow, for day 4, the final day of this week, we are going to be talking about your lead magnets and why it's not just a freebie. It's not just a free resource that you just roll onto somebody, right? But it is a doorway into your world. So be sure to come back tomorrow for the final day this week in this series. Well, no, it's not in the series. I'm back next week, but it's the final day this week because I'm gonna have a rest at the weekend. I'm gonna have a rest. Valerie, hey. You said great to meet you today. Thank you so much for jumping on. I hope that, what I shared, I'm big on implementation. I didn't get into that in the session. I'm big on not just consuming information and content, but actually implementing what you've learned. So use the resources that I gave you and like commit to implementing at least 2 things, 3 things from those resources, right? So that the money that you paid, the time you cannot get back, money we can go and find and make that, right? But you can't get that time back. So I really do want you to implement what you learn, not just from my session, but from Trish and from Jerry as well. Hey, Andrea, good to see you, lovely. How are you? We've got a LinkedIn user. Your name hasn't come up. Excellent sharing. The episode analogy works really well. Yeah, think of the posts as individual episodes. We started watching Scandal. My husband has just gone into the archives. We've started watching Scandal. Did you guys watch Scandal with Olivia Pope, right? We started watching that. Hooked again. And for me, I'll like expose myself. My husband calls me Dory because I can watch something 20 times and I still don't remember. Like, I'm like, what's going to happen? What happened with him? What's he doing? Right. But the individual episodes are your posts. But ultimately, what is the golden thread that you know as the business owner? You know what it is. Oftentimes the people that we're serving, they think they know what the problem is. They think they know what they need. I'll have somebody come into me and they're like, oh, if I just knew what time to post on LinkedIn, like that would fix all of my problems. And I'm like, yeah, not quite. Right? I know that you actually need a strategy. I know that you actually need to engage as much as you put content. There's a whole plethora of things that you as the business owner will know. So you'll know what that through line is. And that unravels through your posts over time. All right, Leonora said the importance of self-care, which is the selfless and not selfish thing to do, as you cannot pour from an empty cup. Amazing. So that through line, I would even have it on a post-it note, right? Above my or on my laptop so it's visible. So when I'm creating content, I'm brought back to what the through line is. What's the reason for this post? Even if I don't mention those words specifically, if I don't call them out specifically, the essence of it has to point back to your through line. It has to link back to that. Because as I've said, you become known for what you talk about. And if what you're talking about is sporadic and all over the place, then you can't become known for anything. Especially on LinkedIn, we want to be known as thought leaders, right? We want to position ourselves as experts. An expert with no body of work, make that make sense? It doesn't, right? Pauline, you said yes, and I'm assuming that is to watching Scandal. I'm assuming that's to watching Scandal. Yeah, I was hooked at the time, and yeah, for some reason he's dusted it off, and we're starting that again. Aminette, how are you? Good to see you. So your through line, stress relief and burnout recovery. Worked with you this time last year. Was it a year ago? You're right. It was towards the end of 24 because we did the like 4-week prep, I think, in the lead up to the new year, maybe. Wow, time has gone quickly. Right. So again, knowing what that is, knowing how you're going to articulate that throughout the content in different types at different phases, right? Because stress relief, people are at different levels in terms of their stress. So there's so much that you can do with your content. I think people get stuck in let's just post a quote, let's just put up an inspirational quote. No, we actually want to know your ideas. We want to know your thoughts. We want to know how you think about something. How are you getting the results for somebody? What frameworks have you built? What results have you got? There's a whole thing around content, and I could literally talk about this for days. LinkedIn user said, my profile is in your words. Let me read that again. My profile is in your words, my online real estate. Aminette. So are you sharing that with Aminette? I think this is an individual conversation, maybe. But guys, let me know if this was helpful. As I said, tomorrow is all around lead magnets. So come back on. And maybe you're not even familiar with the term lead magnet. It's a marketing term. It literally is, I gave the analogy in the session that I delivered today. You know, like when you go to the mall and that pretzel company has those cinnamon sugar pretzels on a tray, and the Saturday girl is stood there, you know, giving them out. That's a lead magnet. It's a freebie. It's a try before you buy. Have one of these small morsels of a pretzel, right? And before you know it, you are stood in the line with your debit card out, ready to buy the whole thing. So a lead magnet is the gateway, the doorway, the entry point into your world. So I want to get into lead magnets as an anchor for your visibility. You loved watching Scandal. Yeah. You know what? I feel like she got a bit too wallowy for me. She was like, I need you. It was just a bit too, like, I remember towards the end, I was just like, I'm tapped out of this. This is when I know I'm not interested, because the laptop comes out and my husband's like, you're not watching it. And I'm like, I am, but I'm kind of working. I think that whole relationship just went on a bit too long, and they were in, they were out, it was too much. I digress. Let me give you back your Thursday evening. This has been fantastic. I have loved sharing with you guys. Leonora, you said great insights. Thank you. Please, guys, go away and think about what is the through line for your business. What is the topic that you keep coming back to? What connects the dots? What is it you want to be known for? Don't end up talking about things that you don't want to be known for. That doesn't make sense. So with that, I will bid you farewell, and I look forward to seeing you. Look out for the post. I'm kind of scheduling these on a just in time, or not just in time. I schedule it in the morning, according to my day. So in the morning, I will look and see what my day looks like, and I will schedule the final session. But if you can't join live, you can absolutely watch the replays. I did not go on to say the QR code here will take you to the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. And with that, there are different tiers, right? So you could join. There's a free tier where you get access to the community, you get access to a weekly LinkedIn strategy. There's a middle tier where you get access to resources, on demand trainings, reviews of your profile. And then the top tier, you get access, each tier, you get access to the one below. So the top tier, you also get one-to-one time with me, right? So me working with you, you can book fortnightly time in my diary to build out your LinkedIn strategy, to build out a campaign. Perhaps maybe you're launching something and you want to use LinkedIn as the vehicle to get that thing in front of people. But yeah, you can scan the QR code and that will take you there. Maybe tomorrow I'll show you, I'll do like a walkthrough inside of the community. And Pauline, you said, thank you, that was helpful. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Emma, thank you. Amazing. Connect with me if we didn't connect. I'm guessing we've connected on LinkedIn as you are here. And LinkedIn user has said gratitude. Guys, thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow or next week if you're not able to join tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of the evening.